Hey, how about it, race fans? Richard Allen on motorsportsreport.net coming at you with one of my richest ramblings. Today is Monday, following the first weekend of the World of Outlaws Case Construction Late Model Series races at Volusia Speedway Park. We're approaching the time of the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series. Will kick off its season at Golden Isle Speedway coming up here on Thursday. So we're really into it now. You know, we had the Wild West Shootout out of Vado in New Mexico. Had great racing out there, but now the two national touring series, the two main national touring series are getting going, so it kind of makes it feel like it's really racing season now. So what I was just going to talk about was kind of reflect back on what happened at Volusia this past weekend. What a couple of great races. Devin Moran winning on Friday. Had a good battle there that we saw all throughout the field. There was battling throughout the field before Devin emerged as the ultimate winner in that one. Then we had Hudson O'Neal winning on Saturday, another great race. He and Devin Moran fought really hard for that win. So a lot of good stuff. You know, I was thinking as I was watching those two races, I thought, man, if this is what we got to look forward to all throughout 2024, it's going to be a really good season. So I'm even more excited than I was already. So, and looking forward, I'm going to be heading down to Golden Isles on Thursday, hopefully taking in all three of those races down there. So really excited about that, about making that trip. It's always one of my favorite trips of the year to go on, to go down there, because, you know, it's a good place to get photos and all that, get some interviews with some of the guys. So be checking out on motorsportsreport.net all throughout this coming week and the upcoming weekend for what's going on there. One of the things that I noticed at the World of Outlaws races at Volusia, if there was a time on Saturday when Bobby Pierce and Brandon Shepard were racing, I don't know, around fifth place, somewhere like that, and it just had this feel as they were battling for position there. This is the kind of thing we're going to see all year with the World of Outlaws Late Model Series, you know, because those two guys, I don't think there's any doubt that they're going to be the two top contenders for the championship, probably along with Chris Madden and maybe another one or two who might mix in there. But as those two guys were battling, I was thinking, you know, how many times this upcoming season are they going to be battling for position, whether it's for a win, whether it's for a podium, a top five, whatever, and ultimately every position is going to matter when it comes to who's going to win this championship. You know, the World of Outlaws still uses a traditional system where just whoever piles up the most points throughout the season winds up as the champion. So every point, I think, between these two is going to matter. You know, of course, Shepard has won the World of Outlaws championship 4 times. Bobby Pierce is the defending World of Outlaws champion. So that ought to be fun to watch as it plays out all throughout the season. And another thing that struck me watching these races was, you know, in these Georgia-Florida Speed Weeks races, Golden Isles, at Volusia, at East Bay, and all those places like that, you don't have any schedule conflicts between Lucas Oil and World of Outlaws, which means you get a lot of mixed fields, and meaning you've almost got the crown jewel capable fields racing in all these races. So ultimately, if you're a guy who plans on running one of the two tours full time, to get into the feature lineup, you're going to have to not only beat the guys you're going to race all season, whether it be on Lucas Oil or World of Outlaws, but you're also going to have to race the competitors from the other side as well. And there's some pretty stout competition. I mean, look at this past weekend. You had not only the regulars like Bobby Pierce and Brandon Shepard and Chris Madden all part of the racing there, but then you had, you know, Ricky Thornton was in there, you know, Devin Moran was in there, Hudson O'Neal was in there, so which are not guys who are going to run the World of Outlaws schedule full time. So in order to qualify for those races, you had to not only beat the regulars, but you had to beat those guys too. And in these early season races, when those schedule conflicts, one of the things that will come up is the use of a lot of emergency provisionals, because they use up the regular provisionals pretty quickly and then have to go to the emergency provisionals to get guys in the field. And I know a lot of people get upset about provisionals. To me, provisionals are one of those things that people get all upset about that have no actual bearing on their life, which I'm not one who worries about things that don't have an actual bearing on my life. So I've noticed a lot of people tend to do that and get upset about it. To me, the use of a provisional, as long as it's keeping guys on the tour, it's fine with me. And there are limits to the emergency provisionals. They don't just let them just use them all throughout the season. They put limitations on them, so guys have to be careful here in these early races. If you wind up using a couple or three emergencies to get into the field, then that may cost you further down the road. So some of these guys may just opt not to use them as the season goes on. So anyway, it's a lot of interesting things to look at. And there'll be a lot of interesting things to look at here at Golden Isles. You got a couple of the big stars, Jonathan Davenport and Brandon Overton, who raced with Lucas Oil all season last year. Of course, Davenport made it into the Final Four, the chase for the championship. Brandon Overton was just outside the Final Four. Neither of those two guys, if you look up their schedules on their websites, neither of those two guys have a full schedule out yet. So one of the things I think we're going to be looking for here early on when the Lucas Oil's at not only Golden Isles, but East Bay and some of the other places that they go to, is will those guys run well enough to put themselves up in a good points position where they may decide, okay, I'm going to stick it out throughout the rest of the season. Or if they have a couple of bad runs, they kind of get marred back in the standings a little bit, they may just say, I'm just going to run a pick and choose schedule. As Overton has done very successfully, as Jonathan Davenport did very successfully back in 22. So there's that storyline to play out too. Where are these guys going to go? Are they going to stay on a tour? Are they going to run pick and choose? Whatever. The World of Outlaws does that thing where they have competitors to kind of pay, I guess, a fee or whatever. They have a name for it. It's a way of locking people in on the tour, but it also might be a way to maybe even keep people off the tour because they don't want to pay that fee to get that points bonus that you get from paying it. So a lot of stuff to watch play out here over these next few days and weeks as we go through Georgia, Florida Speed Weeks. But I'm really encouraged by the racing that we've already had so far. The racing at Vado was pretty good. I know Bobby Pierce dominated a lot. They were not quite as thick of a field at Vado as there will be in Georgia and Florida. So we'll have that to measure things a little bit better. But then, the racing on Friday and Saturday, the World of Outlaws of Volusia, that was just outstanding. And Golden Isles, I'm hoping here this coming weekend we'll just continue that up. We'll produce a lot of great racing as well. But until then, like I said, keep checking on motorsportsreport.net. We got a lot of stuff on there. We're putting something new on there pretty much every day. Me and my sons are working at that, so make sure and keep checking it out, and especially check it out this weekend as I'll be down at Golden Isles keeping an eye on things down there. But until then, this is Richard Allen, motorsportsreport.net, saying I will see you at the track.